please.
If everybody don't know, our Irving MacArthur girls basketball team is ranked #4 in the nation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don, I'd like to say too, since that article came out in Newsweek for the North Hills Prep School, we're getting calls from all over the world. Like, how can I get into that school? What housing is beside it?
Fantastic.
So it all translates into jobs.
Yeah.
It translates into customers.
I'm in the relocation business, and what my business does is help major corporations relocate their people into business communities like
Right.
Irving. And that's exactly right. That's one of the first things they want to know, affordable housing for the
Right.
workforce. That's a huge driver in a big business. You watch all these companies now that are moving from California because it's so tax prohibitive to live and work in California. They're now looking at Texas. And when funding becomes available from the banks and it makes more sense, you're going to see the Dallas Metroplex explode again. So that's a big issue, John. I'm glad you asked the question. It's a big issue for companies who want to relocate.
Right.
And not only that, you know, there's a depth of housing in Irving that most folks don't know, from the gated communities at Darling Homes to the $173,000 homes. So.
In fact, Greg, just one more thing. And I work for Darling Homes in Las Colinas. The amount of people whose kids are going to be in North Hills School, but they live in McKinney or they live in Allen, and they're coming to Irving to live because their kids are going to be going to the ninth best school in the country down the street.
Right.
And I see that constantly. I'm constantly seeing people whose kids were fortunate enough to get into North Hills, and now they're moving to Irving because they want to be close to. They want that commute to be short.
Right.
And the schools are a huge deal with regard to what's going on with rooftops, and we all know rooftops drive our business.
Right. That's right.
Right. Just one other thing to add to that real quick. You also have, you know, when you show the different school districts and you show Carrollton Farmers Branch and Coppell, within that area of Las Colinas, the Carrollton Farmers Branch School District has Las Colinas Elementary. That's an award-winning school also in the public school sense. So as these people look, you're right, it's affordable housing, it's public safety, and it's education. And one of the things that we're making big strides in that area is the education choices, period. A wide array, and more realtors are selling that to transplants that are coming into our community every day. It's becoming a driver, and as our crime rate also continues to lower, that's another driver, bringing new homeowners in specifically. Not as much business owners necessarily, that as well, but homeowners also.
And then we, the higher education, this is another thing, Joanne, to your point, with businesses that come in, big, large corporations, where can our staff go for continuing education within Irving? You know, you've got one of the best schools in the nation right here, University of Dallas, DeVry, University of Phoenix. Here's one I didn't know, Evelyn Christian has a branch of itself here in Irving along 183. So here's, how many commute into Irving to work every day? Okay. One of the things that, when I moved to Texas, I'll just tell you a quick story. When I moved to Texas 11 years ago, I was smart enough, everyone said, you need to move to South. Like, my office is across the street from the old Texas Stadium, back in the Dr. Pepper plant back there. So Janice and I were smart enough to drive in traffic. I don't know why, but we were smart enough to drive in traffic doing the commute each way. And it took me 45 minutes to get from my office up 114 onto South Lake Boulevard to where the development we wanted to look at it. So I added 45 minutes each way, was an hour and a half a day I'd spend sitting in traffic. And an hour and a half times 5 days, that's 7.5 hours a week, times 50 work weeks. I found out there's 400 hours, basically, I'm going to be sitting in my car on the road. So that made Irving an easy choice for me. So I live now near O'Connor 114. So when I leave my office, it's 3.5 miles each way, and I get off on O'Connor, and everyone starts stacking up going to South Lake. So I enjoy probably 10 business weeks, 8 to 10 business weeks at 40 hours a week with my family, doing the things that we like to do rather than sitting in traffic. Another reason, if you live and work in Irving, makes a lot of sense. So, you know, the other day I fly a lot for my job, and I left my house and I cleared security. I had an early morning flight. I cleared security at DFW in 22 minutes. I left my house, parked, got my boarding pass, and went through security in 22 minutes. I was there. So can't do that when you live in Maryland.
Wait till the train connects.
Yeah. So, you know, if you look at it, it really is centralized. You can be just about any of these places from Irving. If you look at Irving on the map, it's a great location for downtown to Fort Worth, to American Airlines. You could take the the Orange Line soon downtown, and you've got the TRE downtown for basketball games and events at the American Airlines Center. So it really is a convenient spot to live. And then, of course, we put this together because a lot of folks don't know that, Mike, how many developments do we have recently in the last 4 or 5 years in Irving new ones? I know Darling Homes, yours.
Yeah, we actually have in that North Las Colinas area, just with regard to single-family homes, and not just Darling, but
And these are new developments.
these are
right?
new developments in the last few years. La Vida certainly, which is almost sold out, and then my community, Riverside, a fantastic new community just down the street called Lakes of Las Colinas, and that's all. And we're talking about probably 700 home sites between 635 and 114 just on Riverside, and that's just single family. There's some great townhome communities as well popping up down there. I would guess just in Las Colinas alone 8.
Yeah. So you've got home prices anywhere from here in the low 100,000s, mid 100,000s, up to $1 million plus, and these are all of the different developments that have gone on. Do you have something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
one quick comment. The Lakes of Las Colinas and Riverside Village has just been recognized by the Dallas Business Journal as one of the best real estate deals of 2009, and hopefully there'll be a winner next week.
I hope so too. It's if you haven't visited us out there, just come by and drive through those 2 communities, because you'll really see what's going to be driving your business. The people who are coming in and are coming in from all over the world. I've sold in a year. We sold about a little over 20 homes in my community, just my business, just my company, and I have. Out of those 20, we have 9 different nations represented, which just speaks to what Las Colinas is really about, and that's who your customers are in those communities. You should come out and have a look. It's a really neat place to be.
I will say, we work with a lot of companies that relocate people into DFW, and we've lost some deals. Irving Las Colinas has lost some deals because the executives who are making the decisions didn't find suitable housing for the level of housing they like, so they moved their business to Plano or Frisco or somewhere else. Well, with the Darling Home folks, if you haven't been in their development, you need to see it, because the homes where they start 750, 100,000 up.
In my community in Riverside, we actually start at 300, so that mid-level sort of manager up to about 450 for us, and then my buddy Brennan, who everybody here has probably met, he actually starts they start about 500 in there and go up to like 1.4. So what we've done is we've closed that South Lake gap to downtown too. Before you either had, if you wanted to live in $1.5 million house, you lived in South Lake and you commuted to downtown, which,
You spend all your time traffic.
Right, and we've really cut that down now in offering that product. It's really it's special.
And it's special for the city of Irving to attract those businesses too. So here's a list of chamber resources for you. We've got 2 of the folks in the room with us, and Kevin and Janet, would y'all come up and kind of give us a little, Kevin's our mortgage expert, and maybe just give us an idea of what's going on with interest rates and mortgage. And then Janet, if you just take a couple minutes and tell everybody what you're seeing in the Irving market in terms of who's buying, who's selling, how hot the market is, and what we're going to see in springtime.